So I'm going to be starting this afternoon. We're going to be talking about beyond burnout, cultivating resilience and well-being in GRI Caregiving. I am Megan Anderson. I was so humbled to be on the family panel, and today I'm just going to share some tips, tricks, some simple things that maybe you can be able to do to help yourself during this journey. So I am a GRI 2A mom, and I'm going to start off with a little something that may be deep, and if you find that it is a little too deep for you and you need to step out, I would like to encourage you to do that. Sitting on the edge of the hospital bed with my daughter Brielle was where he saw me, like many times in which he would visit with my husband and I in the emergency department at Nationwide Children's Hospital. He would always stop in and check on her and us when he was here in the hospital. Only this time over the last 8+ years of Brielle's life was different. It was like we had a never-ending revolving VIP status in the emergency department. It used to be that Brielle would be the only one in the emergency department looking frail, worn out, and so defeated, but brave and fighting for her life to get back to normal. But this family picture, our family picture, was far from normal, and Dr. Jonathan Grishkin understood that. This picture wasn't even one that Leonardo da Vinci could have painted or sculpted himself. What he saw that day wasn't just me on the edge of the bed, holding the oxygen mask for my child. He also saw me holding on to the edge of life. Because of the unknown for our unknown child, who was born with a rare genetic mutation of the 16th chromosome called GRI 2A, I was frail, I was worn out, and I was fighting for my life to get back to normal. As the tear rolled down my exhausted face as he entered the room, the nurse taking care of us looked up at his tall stature as he entered, and he said, "I'm not here as a doctor, I'm here as a friend." His credentials might have given him the title of ear, nose, and throat specialist, but to us, he is more than a medical doctor. He's our friend and a part of our family. Family is what he has become as my husband and I have laid our daughter into his arms on various different surgical dates. One surgery, Brielle insisted using her nonverbal cues that she wanted to wear her pink rain boots into the operating room. Only surgical days seem like days in which the rain keeps pouring, and it may not stop until you get your child back into your arms. But on those rainy days, he was more than the umbrella protecting Brielle and our feelings and emotions. Looking back, it feels metaphorical that he was letting her wear those rain boots because he was reminding us that he was there to walk through the storms together with us, repelling the deep waters that we might encounter. As Dr. Grishkin walks through the storms with us in our unknown journey of GRI 2A, I know he not only does this for us, but for many other patients and families at Nationwide Children's Hospital. He takes time to listen, to learn, provide, love, and most importantly, hope. Hope is what he continues to give my daughter, our family, and personally me on that day, which I felt was hopeless, sitting on the edge of the hospital bed. He reminded me in such a charismatic way that we can't place the oxygen mask on our children to help them if we don't take care of ourselves as parents first. He is the oxygen mask that encompasses hope to so many in the world that needs more Jonathan Grishkins. And for this, we are truly grateful that he has come into our life. But what Dr. Jonathan Grishkin didn't realize that day was 2 weeks prior, my husband, after this awesome Luke Bryan concert, was even though we were in the farm fields having a great time with our cousins and the smiles began to flow, my husband found me on the bathroom floor that night, curled up in a ball, simply saying I couldn't do it anymore. My husband, terrified, had reached out to my family. That led to this day 2 weeks ago with Dr. Jonathan Grishkin at the edge of that hospital bed, and it changed me. Didn't just mark another crisis in Brielle's journey with Grin 2A. It marked a moment that I realized to find a new way to survive, to truly care for myself so I could care for her. This experience became the foundation for my presentation. Dr. Grishkin's presence that day, his wisdom, his compassion, his reminder that I had to put my own oxygen mask on first, sparked something in me since then. I've been learning, often the hard way, how to do that in real life. And now I'm sharing those lessons with others walking similar paths. Every single one of these steps came from a place of need, desperation, and of grace. And every single one is rooted in a story I shared above, a story that reminds me and hopefully reminds you there is life beyond burnout. There is hope, there is healing, and there is rain boots in the journey. So why does this matter? It matters because obviously we have 24/7 caregiving. We know it's real, it's raw, and it's relentless. We know that Grin or GRIA doesn't come with a manual. This is for every patient who has ever felt like who's ever felt like they were drowning. Hope, resilience, and well-being are not luxuries, they're lifelines. So how I moved from beyond burnout to beyond is based on life-changing caregiving, grounded in life-altering diagnosis, rooted in faith, family, and community, and inspired by the care of others like Dr. Jonathan Grishkin. So, putting it all together, since Brielle has a mutation of the 16th chromosome, I came up with 16 lessons that didn't come from a book. They came from real life. They've been my oxygen mask on the hard days, my hope that something here becomes yours too. And just to remind you that you're not alone. Lesson number 1, compliment someone, especially those caring for your child. I often found the simple ways of doing that was just to bring in a coffee, something special for Brielle's teacher, her aide that's taking care of her. Something just so special just to remind them that they are truly a gift in your child's life as well. Set boundaries. This is so important. Protect your energy. You can't say yes to everyone without saying no to yourself. So sometimes there have been moments during this conference that I've had to set boundaries to say, I will attend that. I won't attend that because it may be mentally just too hard for me to hear. Exercise. For me, this is huge. Even if it's just a walk up and down the steps multiple times. Even short walks can help release stress and reset your spirit. Read. For me, this includes scriptures, words that anchor us when even our emotions are too loud. So a lot of times I talk with my hands. This is really hard for me to stand right here because I move a lot. I'm an assistant principal. I average between 17 and 19,000 steps a day. So for me to stand right here and talk is really hard, but I talk with my hands a lot. I used to write words that I could focus in when I was having really hard days just on my hands. So as I was talking, I could see that word. Well, what I did was took it an extra step further. I wanted to know what my purpose in life was. And you'll see here that I have a flat line that has the word serve. So until the day I die, I'll serve the infinite love of Jesus as well as my husband, my youngest daughter, Radiant Reese's heart rhythm, and then Brielle's brainwave on my arm. Meditate on songs that inspire or motivate you. Let the lyrics be a lifeline when your own words are gone. I love movie quotes and I love songs. And sometimes they need to be humorous to get me to think something else, and sometimes just inspirational to keep me going as well too. So when I'm in those really hard moments, just going back and singing those songs in my head. Guarantee it's not going to sound like the singer, but it's going to be to my own tune. Have a check-in person. I have 3 different check-in people. my family, my friends, and my coworker. My husband is my family. I had a really tough day the other day, and he looked at me and he's like, "Why didn't you talk to me?" Well, I thought I'd kick out of the day. Well, you didn't, because it turned into the next day. So that's my check-in person. My friends, you'll see here, I graduated from The Ohio State University. I played volleyball. I was a walk-on. Those are my people. They were my teammates in college. They have flown in to run half marathons with me on behalf of Brielle. One of them left for Bali for a year. She called me the night before saying, "I can't leave. What if something happens to Brielle?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to tell you this. If we had the opportunity to go to Bali for a year, we would pack up and go too. So you better get your rear end on the plane. We will be just fine." Those are my friends. My coworkers. I'm an assistant principal, and I have other assistant principals that check in on us. I had a friend 2 days ago that called me and was like, "What's going on? You haven't called me today. You okay?" Find your people. Give yourself time to feel and validate those feelings. Your pain is real. Your exhaustion, we all know what that's about, is real. Don't dismiss them. Shower with calming scents. That sounds really awkward, I know. I put a little lavender or eucalyptus tabs in the shower with me in the morning and just breathe those in. My shower is like my time. I love the shower, just where it burns the skin. Like, those are my kind of showers. Now, my husband, though, has built a cold plunge, and he will do a cold plunge in the morning and night. His biggest thing is, if I can get through 3 to 5 minutes of freezing water, that's going to be the hardest thing that I experience. And that's how he gets his mind right. Other people think he's crazy. Date nights or day dates. So this could include your partner. This could include a friend. Maybe even just having coffee in the driveway. Something simple. Decorating your dining room table into looking like, a Mexican restaurant, and feeling like you're someplace else if you can't get someplace else. Create a baby book. I talked about this yesterday on the panel. I actually have a Google Drive that Brielle and her teachers and her aides write in, and it's now her baby book that's created that tells me what she's done throughout the day. And we all are in the same communication piece. Create a medical resume. So you can see here I have a medical resume. This has been so helpful because when I or myself or my mom or Brielle's caretaker take her to the doctor and they say, "What medications has she had today?" It's a one-stop shop. Here's your Shakespeare Cliff Notes, right? We don't understand Shakespeare, right? We don't understand Greek kids either, but here's your Cliff Notes. It's been so helpful. My husband went in the other day and the nurse was like, "This is wonderful." And he's like, "I'd really like to say I created this, but this is my wife." But this has taken a lot off me, because I used to feel like I had to go to every appointment. And for me, that was mentally exhausting. But I had to delegate. I had to teach others about Brielle, and this was one way to help me. Take pictures, videos, and sometimes just be present. We get family portraits every 3 to 6 months. Those are really important to me. While you may not, maybe that's a financial burden, have a friend take them. For Mother's Day, my grandma's 95. His grandma's 91. For Mother's Day, I bought a Mother's Day package, and we had a great-grandmas, grandmas, moms, and we just had everybody together. And I love these pictures. So we get them, just my husband and I. We get them with the family. We get them with everybody. But again, this could be just a friend. But I also know that there are some photographers, like there's an autism photographer that will simply do it for free. So ask people. They may do it because they really want to help you out. Create moments. Oh, there's our Mother's Day picture. Create moments for your other children involved. So you heard me talk about Radiant Reese, my other child. I really started to try to focus on doing a really good job of giving her more time. We go to concerts together. For Christmas, we went to New York City. So I really make sure that I do things that it's just her and I that she will remember for a lifetime. Christmas, it wasn't important that she had gifts. I wanted her to have my time. And so we went and experienced New York, although she loved the elevators, which we could have done that at the airport. So seek help. Therapy, medication, get a strong village. If you need those things to help you, it's okay. It doesn't mean that you are on medication for a long time. I went on medication just when I needed it. Therapy, Dr. Jonathan Grishkin told me about betterhealth.com. I could do it in my car, so I didn't have to hire somebody. Nobody had to come over and watch the girls. I set it up as late as I wanted to. I could just Zoom in, meet with my therapist, and it was wonderful. They were so flexible. Take trips, and I love trips. Vacation is my love language. I saw that last week on Facebook, sent that to my husband. He's really nervous about the next GRIN conference. I hope it's 2 weeks from now, but maybe I should tell him that. This is being recorded. And last but not least, plan ahead. If you can cluster your appointments, organize your meds. Before I left, my husband's like, okay, you just need to go because right now this is too much for me. But for a month, she has all her medical equipment. She has all her meds. So if something were to happen to me, everything is covered for a month until he could get his feet under him or anybody else. So just for me to plan ahead, to know what can I take care of, to take some things off his plate. And then a lot of times he'll say, I don't need your help. We're going to be okay. Just go over there, sit down, and relax, which is really hard for me. So those are just 16 tips that you can do. And I want you to, maybe it's 1, maybe it's 2, or maybe you're sitting there, maybe it's 3 that you come up with in your own mind before you leave. What am I going to do today to take care of myself so I can take care of my children or my child? Because I know some people have multiple kids here. So as we end today, I want to remind you, just like my husband and Dr. Grishkin did on that day, that we are here to walk through the storms together. Rain boots, resilience, and hope. Let's connect, support one another, and keep choosing hope. Thank you.
Do it. All right, I'm the last speaker of the day. Okay. When I say caregiver, you say burnout. Caregiver. Burnout. Caregiver. Burnout. Yeah. All right. I'm Diana, and I'm the proud owner of a son that has GRIN 2B. His name is Jack. I also have a husband whose name is Chris. He's my second child. He's 41. He does not have any genetic disorders, but anyway. My love language is sarcasm, and when his bank account, whenever his check hits our bank account, that's my love language. All right, so I'm going to try to be quick and all that. So, being a caregiver to a child with multiple disabilities is both a calling and a crucible. It's sacred and beautiful, but it's also exhausting, overwhelming, and isolating. Many of us didn't expect this journey. We didn't train for it, and yet here we are, the medication managers, advocates, researchers, therapists, and full-time comforters, often doing the jobs of an entire medical team while trying to hold together a family, a marriage, and maybe even ourselves. Caregiver burnout isn't just a buzzword, it's a lived reality. It's the chronic stress of being responsible for someone else's life every single day. It's an emotional fatigue that builds up over time, turning into anxiety, depression, hopelessness, and even physical illness. We live on the edge constantly, troubleshooting, fighting for services, insurance approvals, adaptive equipment, and basic inclusion. And somehow we're expected to keep smiling through it all. One of the heaviest parts of caregiving is guilt, especially for me. Guilt for not doing enough. guilt for wanting a break, guilt for asking for help, guilt for sometimes choosing ourselves. We live in a world that praises self-sacrifice but shames self-care, especially when you're mothers. I've been accused of playing the victim just for sharing about my disabled child. And yes, I've got my nails done, did my hair, went on vacation every now and again. Actually, in the last 8 years, I haven't been on vacation. This is a vacation. My Uber ride from the airport here was a vacation. And then been told I shouldn't be asking others to donate towards my child's medical care or needs. That judgment, whether it's silent or spoken, chips away at your spirit, and it makes burnout worse. Because not only are we physically and emotionally tired, but we're also trying to prove we're good enough caregivers, that we're grateful, humble, and doing everything right. The truth, we can't do it all, and we're not supposed to. This one, I have a disclaimer. I'm not perfect, and this one, I'm not perfect. So I'm going to say, in the midst of this chaos, what brings us back from the edge, for me, it's faith in God. My belief in Christ is what grounds me. It's what gives me hope when there's no roadmap, no cure, and no answers. It's what reminds me that I'm not alone, even in the hardest moments. But faith without community is hard to sustain. We need each other. We need friends and family who don't just say, let me know if you need anything, but who show up. People who sit with us in the mess, fight for our kids when we're too tired to fight, and remind us of who we are when we forget. And yes, we need professionals too. Therapists, counselors, pastors, doctors, anyone who can help carry the weight. Resilience isn't about never breaking down. It's about getting back up again and again with help. Caregiver burnout doesn't just live in our heads and our hearts, it lives in our homes and our marriages. It wedges itself between us and the person we once leaned on the most. Because this life we live, it's hard. Sometimes one of us is strong and the other is falling apart. And we trade places without even saying it. And then there are the times when we're both drowning and neither of us has the strength to pull the other one out. That happens a lot in my house. Marriage becomes logistics. Communication becomes survival. You love each other, but you can't find each other. You're grieving differently, coping differently, and running on fumes. But even here, there's hope. When we name it, we can stop pretending it's all fine. We create space for healing. We can extend grace. We can say, I know this is hard. I still choose you. And that matters more than any perfect fix. Let's take a moment to talk about something that some people whisper about, like it's a dirty little secret. Antidepressants and anti-anxiety medicines. Yep, that's the good old coping in capsule form. Now, I know there's this idea floating around that we should all be able to white-knuckle our way through this life with deep breathing and essential oils. And listen, I love a good lavender. It's great. It really is. As much as the next person, but let's be real, when your child is medically complex and you haven't slept in 3 years and you're trying to figure out how to pay for their 5th therapy session of the week while cleaning vomit out of your hair, a peppermint rollerball ain't gonna do it. So yes, I take antidepressants and sometimes anti-anxiety meds, and no, I'm not ashamed. Because when your baseline is chronic stress, survival mode, and emotional whiplash, you do what you have to do to be a functioning human being and a good mom, a wife, an advocate, and a friend. Mental health support isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's how I avoid melting into a puddle of sarcasm and tears every time someone asks, have you tried being more positive? There's nothing heroic about suffering in silence. If you need medication to level out the storm, take the meds. Refill the prescription. Normalize getting help because it doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're surviving. And honestly, that deserves applause. Resilience isn't about having it all together. It's about being strong all the time. It's not about being strong all the time or never needing help. It's about showing up anyway. It's about being honest. It's about clinging to hope, leaning on faith, asking for help, and giving ourselves the grace to be human. Burnout is real, but it's also recovery. It is healing. So is joy. So is healing, so is joy. And so is the unshakable love that keeps us going, even when the road is hard. You're not alone. You're not failing. You are doing sacred work, and that is enough. And I'm done.
Thank you so very much. Yes, no, thank you so much. Are you guys open to questions if we have any? Yeah. Yep. Oh. Oh.
Can you tell me what all information was in that medical resume that you had up there?
Yes. I don't know if can you pull that back? Yeah. So on the medical resume, because we go to Nationwide Children's Hospital all the time, is any question that they would ask me if I walked into the ER. Do you feel safe at home? What are your religious beliefs? There it is. Her birthday, how old she is, what grade she's in, is she on an IEP, her outpatient code, just her diagnoses that she's had, past surgeries. Sorry, I told you I like to move. History, her AM, PM, and then as needed meds. I know that's really small. That she's not allergic to any medication. Can you believe that? I always laugh at that one. Her doctors, any of the ones that have butterflies beside them, that means that she sees them at Nationwide Children's Hospital. I also take these into IEP meetings, meet the teacher. I mean, I am the assistant principal of the previous building that they were at, but so they take those in, and I know the teachers really love this, as well as if she gets a new one-to-one aide. So that's just shared. I also have a digital version of this. So let's say my husband or my mom or the caretaker run out of the house and they forget this. They have the digital version. I created it in Canva, so I can update it and then resend out a new version as well if meds change on that.
And I'll say, I have that as well.
Yeah, I have multiple places I keep it in. The feed bag, because the feed bag always goes with her, or her book bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I have one of those as well, and I have them, I don't know if your child has like the seatbelt or the car seat. You can get those to wrap around the seatbelt, and I have all of that printed. And so if we're in an accident, because that's my biggest fear, one of my biggest fears is, okay, we're in a car accident, I'm incapacitated, I can't say, he can't walk, he can't talk, don't put him in a whatever, and you know, all that kind of stuff. So it's a big red tag, and it Velcros around his strap, and it has all of his information, NPO, all that kind of stuff. It has our phone numbers, doctors. I also have it laminated, and it's on the fridge, so when we have to call 911 and an ambulance comes, I just give them that, because they ask, what's he on, when does he take it, all that good stuff. So yeah, that's huge to have resources.
You can also have the emergency button in if you have an iWatch, and if they pull up that information, it will say, I don't need help, my child with the epilepsy back, like I can put that information in there about her in my watch.
Sorry, just to piggyback on that, I know in my area, I reached out to our local fire department, and let them know that we have a child at home that is has a tracheostomy and is G-tube dependent, so that if we were to call 911, that they would already have that in their system, so they would know when they pull up to our house what to expect. Now, that obviously doesn't take care of a car accident or something like that, but it's just another thing to think about as you're trying to manage through that.
And I will say too, when I lived in Mississippi, we had a friend who had another special needs child like Jack, and he wasn't like G-tube dependent or anything like that, but he was an eloper, and they printed out something like that and took it to the fire department and to the police station, and it's a smaller area than where we live in San Antonio, but it was like, hey, plaster this everywhere. Here's my information. If you come across us in an accident or, however, wherever, and you need to come to us, just remember his face. And this is who it is. So it's a great resource.
I also want to just mention real quick, for anyone online, you can put it in the chat and we will address questions.
And I just want to say, because I'm a nurse, I'm Megan's mom, but I've seen her hand this form to a physician who came into the ER and said, I have no idea about Grin. Tell me what you know. And she just handed him the piece of paper with all of the history. And from my side, on a medical side, and this is what this guy said, oh my God, this helped me so much. And they can just speed up the process of analyzing and taking care of your child. So without you having to try to remember all these things in a stressful situation, hand them the paper.
And a lot of those resources, if they're not on the CareGrin website already, I know we continue to work on more and more of those to have that ready for you guys, for your doctors. So,
thanks, ladies. Thanks for talking today related to a lot of what you said. Curious. I feel, my son Nathan probably has 16 specialists, the therapists, the scoliosis, the appointments are really getting to me lately. I wonder if you ever push back, like urology, for example. They want to see us 3 times a year. How about no? How about once a year? Do you ever do that? I feel guilty when I do that. What are your thoughts?
No, I probably in the last, I'd say 3 years, and just to be really honest and open, for the first 3 years of Jack's life, I was numb. I had him at 25 weeks gestation. He was a little baby, 1 pound. I had preeclampsia. We were in the NICU for 144 days. It was terrible. It was terrible. And so the first 3 years of his life, I was numb. COVID happened, lost my job, didn't know what we were going to do. It was just, my parents were going through a divorce, signed the papers the day I left anyway, it was crazy. But yes, I push back because I'm coming awake now, I'm coming alive, and I'm going, you know what, I'm not going to do that. I have been to all of his therapy appointments this week. If urology can wait a month, 2 months, 3 months, or we see them twice a year, yes. And I don't feel bad about that anymore. I don't. And you have to mentally get to that spot. And I don't know if it's just because I'm like a sarcastic, crazy person, but you have to get there. And I'm okay with getting there. And it's hard.
And you may ask them, can you do tele?
Yeah.
Can you do tele instead? If not, okay. Yeah. I think the thing, at one point we were going to all of these things, and it was just like, oh. So I did pull back, but I will say since, because we've had regression, and that's when I had my mental breakdown was, I was losing my kid, and I told my husband, if I lose her, it's my fault. Very much like what you heard Lauren and those guys say yesterday. But recently, her caretaker had said, I will take her to therapy. Because we're Midwest, right? I'm the educator. My husband's a farmer. Farmers don't carry the insurance. That's me. So she said, I will take her. So we are actually, and I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? I need her because she's getting bigger. I'm not getting bigger. I'm staying the same height since 6th grade. So I need her to still or get back that strength she had. So is it important that I have her in school, or is it important that I have her doing these therapies now? So I've kind of gone back to say, okay, let's get back in the game of going to some of these appointments, but prioritizing them as well, but asking if they can do telehealth. But it is, and don't feel guilty for saying, no, we're
So you
not
think,
doing this
what-
right now.
What if it's that one urology appointment that cures
Yeah.
Grin 2A?
Yeah, right.
And I missed it.
And it's crazy that you say that too. I missed the first part of your speech because Jack is just now starting school. Like he just finished kindergarten, and so my husband and I are at the point because we go to Napa and we do the therapy, and it's 3 weeks. It's intensive therapy. It's 4 hours a day for 3 weeks, and it wipes us clean. I mean, he's the one doing the work, but it is a huge ordeal to do this 6 weeks out of the year. It's crazy expensive. But then we come home and we have OTPT twice a week. And we go, what's the benefit of that? Mm-hmm. I'm driving around like a crazy person, and, can we just pull back? Can we pull back from therapies and let him really focus at school now and do the school thing, and then, take a break. We'll just take a break. If he regresses, we will ramp it up.
And he'll get those
and
services at school.
he will. He gets them at school now. So it's like, okay, instead of doing 3 weeks of 3 days a week at therapy at the hospital, let's do 2 or 1. I can't.
The other thing you may think about doing, like I'm a big take a trip, I mean, maybe if you're going to urology, that's such a pain in the butt to go to those appointments. Maybe the second half is you do something fun, so you find something in that area that this is just not fun at all, but we're gonna end this day and make it fun. So just making it full circle to find joy in that.
I agree. We always do that when we go. So we find the little fun things. Oh, sorry. I didn't know there were actually people wanting.
I'm just going to say one more thing, and that is work with your social worker, your care navigators, whoever. If you're not using respite care, consider that. If you're eligible, if your child, I'm sure you all are probably eligible for that, but that has, I think, really helped Megan to free up. She not only has family support, but now she has an extra caregiver support to be able to go to those appointments. That gives you a little bit of a break.
And to be with Reese. So don't, some people may feel guilty, like I'm leaving my child with the caretaker so I can go be with this child. Like, no, I don't feel guilty for that because I've left Reese for so long that this is my time to now get it back and make those memories, because she's to the age she remembers it. She doesn't remember when she was younger.
I came in late to this session, so I apologize if this is like outside of the scope of what we're talking about, or it's already been addressed. My daughter's 7 months old, so she's teeny tiny and doing, she's being held all the time in our arms because she's that old. But I'm thinking ahead to the possibility that she's much older, like many of the children we've heard about this weekend, and needing lots of different types of care, including like a lot of physical lifting, all that kind of stuff. I'm wondering how you all approach like physical fitness in the context of caring for your children. I've never been a weightlifter, but like, is this the time to start so that I can protect my back and my body while also caring for her? Like, this is the kind of thing I'm trying to game out when she's not even a year old. So I would be curious to hear both of your thoughts as just two people, but if anyone wants to come talk to me afterwards about how you approach that, I would love to know.
Yeah. I will say this. Jack is getting up there in weight. And we have stairs now in the house that we live in, and I can barely get up them myself, much less with this kid. So I told Chris, I was like, look, I've got to start weightlifting. I've got to start doing something, because he gets really stiff and then he leans back. And so it's just getting harder and harder and harder and harder to do things. And you have to make the choice whether to do the car seat that spins. That was the best decision for me because I'm short, I'm 5 foot, and then my husband's 6'1". So, me trying to lift this kid up to turn him, to get him into the car seat, it just wasn't working. So it's stuff like that where, that I would definitely start thinking about too. Like, yeah, I would start now getting into the weightlifting, helping yourself, do that kind of way, because it gets hard.
I mean, I played volleyball at Ohio State. I went to see my old strength and conditioning coach a few weeks ago. He's like, "Girl, you've been doing CrossFit?" I was like, "No, I'm lifting that kid over there who's 75, 80 pounds." He's like, "All right." I'm like, "No, that college did not prepare me for that." I get up still like I did at Ohio State. I get up, I walk or I run. I still do those things just to clear my mind in the morning. And a lot of times she has the safety sleeper. I know she's up. I know she's safe. It's my time. So in order to start my day, I need to clear my mind and just have a mile walk or a run. I know she's fine in that safety sleeper. I got a camera, I can watch her. So I'll get my workout in and then go up and tend to her. So a lot of walking, running, weightlifting. I just do body weight, honestly. But I also see the chiropractor every 2 weeks, and I also get a medical massage. So there's actually a family in our hometown that their husband, wife, they take very good care of me because we're a small community, and they know that every 2 weeks I need to come in. And the medical massage is great because it's not like your typical same massage routine every time. She really looks at my body, analyzes it, and knows what I need with Brielle, and she'll adjust accordingly. So, and putting things in my body that's going to be healthy, because that'll break down muscle tone and things like that. The other thing that may be interesting to some of you, obviously, I turned 40 this year. I got a nose ring and a tattoo. I went wild. My husband's like, "You done?" But I actually had my hormone levels checked. And what I found out that I had, because you should have estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. My doctor came back to me, knew our life, and she said, "I don't know how you're dealing with stress." She said, "You have no testosterone in your body. And that's what burns, that's what you need for stress." She said, "You have nothing. So I don't know how you're doing this." So, we went back to looking at just hormones and how we can regulate that in my body. And sometimes that was a natural thing to do. And then it actually, with a B12 shot, that gave me more energy too. So I was putting the hormone back in my body that was gone, a B12 shot, and that actually I didn't need as many antidepressants. So it helped. I was needing those antidepressants because I didn't have the testosterone to help me burn the stress. Well, when they put the testosterone back in me, I could regulate it more. So that's something you may want to talk to your healthcare provider about too, was looking at your hormone levels, because I was burning. I didn't have anything.
Thank you. And we have 3 minutes, so.
And I just want to say, work with physical therapy, because I'm a nurse in the hospital, so I was aware that we can't lift every patient. We use a Hoyer lift, and that's what I told Megan here recently. I'm like, you need a Hoyer lift to get her up out of bed, to get her in the car, so you're not lifting. You're not going to be able, and if you get hurt, who's taking care of this child, right? So you got to use your brain. You got to think about what else is out there. So ask your medical providers, ask physical therapy, occupational therapy, what else do you have that's going to help us?
Got a couple minutes, maybe one more. Somebody? Okay.
I just wanted to add, my daughter, green one, look on the right down, Sophia Fan. She is 70 pounds. She is not moving, nothing. So you have to pick you up, do stuff. That's why my right hand was completely cold, numb, because I could not feel the hand. I got gabapentin. My weight get up by 15 pounds. So, because of their getting medication. Now, I was asking California government, give me not a Hoyer lift next to the ceiling. 11 months. I was asking, begging, crying. Finally, I got it. And I'm doing 2 times per week circuit training class. I have to race, because otherwise I would be in a bad shape.
The other thing that's really good that's like the trend is Pilates. I mean, I've done it before, and it's like, oh, this is just really refreshing as a workout to do. So,
Yeah, this is all really good. I do yoga, and yoga is also really good too. But okay, you guys, this has been great. Thank you guys so much.